Hello everyone, welcome back to my CM Truly. If you come first time my channel, please subscribe. Okay? Somewhere in the woods of a small Indiana town, a killer walked free for 5 years. He went to work every day, he smiled and the neighbors he filled prescription at the local pharmacy, and the whole time the evidence that would eventually destroy him and been sitting on a dead girl's phone. A 14-year-old girl named Libby German recorded her own killer in the final minutes of her life. She captured his face, his voice, his walk, and still, for 5 years, nobody could find him. This is the full story of the Delphi murder, the investigation, the failures, the breakthrough, and the justice that two little girls finally received. Stay with me because this one will shake you. The town of Delphi. To understand the case, you first need to understand Delphi. Delphi, Indiana, population around 3,000 people. He is a small, tight-knit Midwestern town where everybody know everybody. The kind of place where kids ride bikes without helmet and parents don't worry much about letting them roam. It sits in Carroll County, surrounded by farmland and forest. The kind of town that rarely makes national news. The Monon High Bridge trail was one of Dhilpi's most beloved spots, a converted railway trail that stretched through the woods, passing over a historic high bridge over Dreer Creek. Locals hike it year-round. Families, couples, teenagers, it was considered safe. Community, nobody could have imagined that this peaceful trail would become the site of one Indiana's most horrifying crime. February 2017, winter was still gripping the Midwest, and two best friends were about to take a hike that would change everything. Abby and Libby. Abigail Joyce Williams was 13-year-old. Everyone called her Abby. She was 8th grade at Dilpi Community Middle School. By all accounts, she was bright, kind, and full of life. She loved her family and her friends fiercely. Liberty Rose German was 14. Libby to everyone who knew her. She was Abby's best friend. Outgoing, funny, and according to her family, the kind of person who lit up every room she walked into, she was also, as it would turn out, extraordinarily brave. The two girls had been looking forward to this day off from school. February 13, 2017, a Monday, okay? Schools in Delphi were closed for a teacher in service day, okay? Libby's older sister, Kelsey, drove them to the trailhead at the Monon High Bridge around 1:30 in the afternoon. The plan was simple: hike for a few hours, take some photos, enjoy the day. Kelsey was supposed to pick them up a few hours later at a nearby church. The girls set off down the trail excited and happy. Leppy posted a photo of Abby on the bridge to her Snapchat. It was the last photo either of them would ever take. Was when Kelsey arrived at pickup spot later that afternoon. Abby and Libby were not there. She waited, she called no answer. By early evening the family were panicking. Search party formed almost immediately. Volunteers, police, neighbors, dozens of people fanned out into the wood as darkness fell. They searched throughout the night. The next morning, February 14, Valentine's Day, investigators made a devastating discovery. The body of Abigail Williams and Liberty German were found in a wooded area near Deer Creek, not far from the trail. Both had been murdered. The cause of death was never been fully disclosed by investigators, a decision made to protect the integrity of the case. But what was found alongside them would change everything. The recording that changed everything. When forensic investigators examined Libby's German phone, they found something that nobody expected. A video recording Libby in the moment before she and Abby were attacked had secretly activated her phone camera and recorded a man who had approached them on the trail. Think about that for a second. A 14-year-old girl realizing she was in a danger, had the presence of mind, the incredible courage to quickly record the man who was threatening them. The photos was short, grainy, but it showed a man walking toward the girls on the narrow Monon High Bridge. He was heavy-set, white male, wearing a blue jacket, jeans, and a hood. His hands were in his pockets. His walk was slow, deliberate, confident, and then audio. In the recording, the man speaks just three words: down the hill. Three words spoken in low, calm, controlled voice, not yelling, not frantic, calm, like someone who had done this before, or someone who had planned it. In February 2017, police released the image and the audio publicly, making an unprecedented appeal to the American public. The image blurry but identifiable, so the suspect on the bridge. The audio clip three word was broadcast on national news, shared millions of times online. The response was enormous. Tips flooded in from across the country. Amateur sleuth on Reddit and true crime forum worked around the clock trying to identify the wires, the clothing, the walk. Despite all of it, despite millions of people hearing that wires, no arrest came for years. The investigation stalled. The early investigation into the Delphi murder was massive. The FBI joined local law enforcement. Hundreds of tapes were followed up. Persons of interest were interviewed. One of those people interviewed in the days after the murders was a local man named Richard Allen. He told police he had been on the Monon High Bridge trail on the afternoon of February 13. He said he had not seen anything unusual. Police noted the interview and moved on. Years passed, the case went cold. The community of Dhilpi lived with the grief and the fear. Parents became more protective. The trail, once beloved, became a place of dread. In 2019, police released a new, more detailed description of the suspect: a white male, 5 feet 6 inches to 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing 180 to 220 pounds, believed to the between 18 and 40 years old. Then in 2022, 5 years after the murders, something shocking happened. Police released a completely new sketch of the suspect. The new sketch looked nothing like the original. The first sketch showed an older, heavier man. The new sketch showed a younger man with sharper features. The internet erupted. Investigators insisted both sketches were based on legitimate evidence and witness accounts, but the confusion shook public confidence in the investigation. Had they been looking for the wrong person for 5 years, people were frustrated, angry. Two little girls had been murdered in broad daylight and the killer was still walking free. The came October 2022. The arrest on October 26, 2022, Indiana State Police and the FBI made an announcement that stopped the crime world in its tracks. Richard Mathan Allen, 50-year-old, a resident of Dhilpi, Indiana, had been arrested and charged with two counts of murder in the first degree. The name hit the community like a thunderbolt. Richard Allen was not a stranger. He was not some shadowy outsider. He was a local, a neighbor, a CBS pharmacy employee who had worked in Dhilpi for years. People knew him. He had filled their prescription, chatted with them at the counter, waved to them in the street. And in 2017, he had told police himself that he was on that trail the same day Abby and Libby were murdered. He had been interviewed and released. Court documents later revealed that investigators had found critical physical evidence linking Allen to crime scene. Specific details about the evidence have been kept sealed to protect the trial process, but sources reported that the evidence was described as substantial and direct. Ellen was taken into custody and held without body bond. After 5 years, 2 months, and 30 days, the man accused of killing Abigail Williams and Liberty German was behind bars. The family of both girls released emotional statement. Abby family, Libby family, year of grief, of waiting, of not knocking, and now finally a face, a name, an arrest. But the legal battle was just beginning. The road to trial of Richard Allen was anything but smooth. His case became one of the most legally complicated in Indiana history. There were argue over evidence, there were motion to suppress, there were claims of misconduct. The case was delayed multiple times. Allen defense team made headline and drew significant critiques for some of their legal strategy. At various points, they floated Badger alternative theory, including claims involving occult rituals and a shadow group called the Odinist Brotherhood. Legal experts and the victim family were outraged. Many called the defense tactics desperate and deeply disrespectful to Abby and Libby. Allen himself in jailhouse communication reportedly made increasingly erratic statements. There were questions raised about his mental state. His attorney argued he was not competent to stand trial. Those arguments were ultimately rejected. The trial finally began in October 2024 in Westfield, Indiana, moved from Carroll County due to the intense local attention. Prosecutors laid out their case methodically: the physical evidence, the timeline, the record, the witness count, placing Allen on the trial that day. The defense argued that Allen was innocent, that the evidence was circumstantial, and that the real killer were still out there. The jury did not agree. After deliberating, the jury returned a verdict: guilt on both counts, guilt of the murder of Abigail Williams, guilt of the murder of Liberty German. Richard Allen was sentenced to 130 years in prison with absolutely no possibility of parole. He will die in prison. In the courtroom, family member wept. Some had photo of Abby and Libby. After 7 years of pain, of waiting, of fighting for justice, it had finally come. Let's take a moment here because this part of the story deserves its own space. Libby German was 14-year-old. In the most terrifying moment of her young life, she made a decision that most adult, most trained professional might not have thought to make. She hit record. She did not panic and drop her phone. She did not freeze. She quickly, calmly activated her camera and pointed it at the man who was going to kill her. Because of that decision, investigators had a face, a bias, a walk, evidence that year later helped put a killer behind bar. Libby did not survive, but her courage survived, and it made justice possible. Her grandfather, Mickey Patty, had spoken publicly many times about Libby, about how much she loved life, about her love, her personality, her love for her family. He has also spoken about Libby bravery with a grief and a pride that is almost impossible to put into words. She saved the case, he said in one interview. She did. A 40-year-old girl saved the case. Abby Williams was 13. She deserved a lifetime. She deserved high school, college, first love, a career, a family of her own. So did Lobby. Both of them were robbed of everything but a man who worked at the local pharmacy by a man their family might have smiled at in the street. That is the really of true crime. It is not just a genre. These are real people, real lives, real losses. The Delphi murder case is closed now. Richard Allen will spend the rest of his life in race on. But the question it raised don't go away. How did investigators miss him in 2017 when he voluntarily told them he was on that trail? Could earlier action have prevented years of pain for the family? Were three failures in the investigation that need to be examined? These are important questions not to undermine the result, but because Abby and Libby case should make every law enforcement agency in the country better. The town of Delphi is healing slowly. The Moon High Bridge trail still stands. Some locals say it should be a place remembrance, a memorial of two girls who loved that trail enough to spend their day of hiking it. Abigail Williams, Liberty German, 13 and 14-year-olds. Never forgotten. And this video meant something to you, you please share it. These girls deserve to be remembered by as many people as possible. Drop a comment below. Did you follow this case from the beginning? Were you shocked by the arrest? I want to hear your story. Bye bye. See you next video.